Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. I'd like to welcome you all to the show. Today we're dealing with a lot of different topics. Mainly, I want to touch base on the Thule, Thule Indians, who were Vikings, came from Greenland and Iceland. They were a native tribe. Personally, I believe this is where your Cherokee and Choctaw got their start from, was the Thule Indians. They came from the north. They conquered the Olmecs, or the black natives that was already here. They mixed in during that war. What was the name of that war? It was the Battle of, right there by the Tuscaloosa River. Anyway, that's where the battle took place. And they conquered the original natives that was here, and they mixed in, what do you call it, intermarriage or whatnot, and, and that's what have you. That's why you have during the slave trade, you had a lot of dark-skinned Indians, or you had Indians enslaving Indians, or some would call that the ones that were enslaved were actually prisoners of war. But I mean, that goes on into another topic. But we're just sticking basis with building up the reason for the ideology of racism. Now, European comes. Were Columbus following the Vikings of the Thule natives, Thule? I don't know, could be. Anyway, so he winds up in America. Pope Innocent and the popes was likely any dark-skinned people who own land and possessions by the authority of the church. You have the right to confiscate their lands. So now lands are being confiscated. But that's where it started. When you say, hey, look, white people, you have the right from your God, from your church. I am the Pope. I stand in place of God here on earth, and all indigenous, the melanated people on the planet, you have permission to take their lands, rape, and pillage them. Now greed kicks in. So it's not about humanity or human beings or what's moral. No, it's about, gold, land, wealth. Let me sack this town. Let me let me set up stake for my family on this parcel of land. The Queen was so cold. Let me release all the prisoners from the jail cells and come to America and help build. But I mean, it's an oxymoron. I mean, you're gonna let criminals out of jail to come to the Americas to set up a civilized society. I mean, you can't write this stuff. So anyway, so they're here. Okay, so greed kicks in. So it becomes, if you wasn't white, it didn't matter if you was Native American, if you were a mixture of blacks and natives, such as the Thule Indians, it didn't matter. Now, the sad, meaning, just like today, you got different gangs who fight each other, but yet the police force is one, and they come down on both gangs. You got black people who say, well, I'm native black, I'm African American, I'm African, I'm from this side of town, I'm with this gang, I'm down with this over here. But in the eyes of your oppressor, your colonizer, all he sees one drop, and that one drop gives him the right to confiscate or sack what you have based on old laws. So while you fighting on who's closer to the colonizer or who's further apart from the colonizer, in his eyes, it don't even matter. He just know that he has plenty of game to hunt. He sits back and watch his game. And when he's ready to move in, he moves in. Because we're divided and conquered. As simple as that. Look, how do I know that we're divided and conquered? Look at the conversations we're having. Look at the shows that we're portrayed in. Some of this is just a 20th century minstrel show. Some of these reality shows, it's just the shuck and jive, throw sand on the floor and do a tap dance routine act all over again. It's a hustle. We being hustled. While we caught up in the hustle, right? The weather is depleting, meaning more hurricanes, earthquakes, tornadoes, floods, rain, heat waves. Then watch when the wintertime, you heard Brother Farrakhan say, watch the weather. It's going to be so much it's ridiculous. But look at what we're into, meaning our action tells us where our mind is at. Like the song say, free your mind and the rest will follow. But if your mind is slaves, the body will follow. If the mind is free, the body will follow that. It's a simple process. So we sit back and watch, okay, look, what are we into? What are we building? What are scientists at? Where are the mathematicians? How many do we have? How many students? Matter of fact, let's break it down in the Houston area. What's the percentage of black students from HISD, Pearland, Katy, Cypress, ISDs, Aldine? What's the percentage of black people, black students in all those classes? Man, all those classes, students, how many of them are taught about, let's say, Gaspar Yanga, let's say King Negus, let's say John Horse. And these are some of the pioneers that I mentioned in my docudrama titled Everyday People, the movie, right? I spent my dime last on producing this docudrama just to educate and make it entertaining. We work with what we have, but the information is powerful. And if it's a who knows about the Olmecs? It's a tragedy because, look, the Olmecs were the first civilized people in what they call the Americas. And their kingdom spread all the way up until the Alabama, Mississippi, up into the south from Mexico. They got into a fight with the Thule Indians, the Thules coming from the north. The Olmecs were the mound builders. Got into a war, lost the land, and the invaders came and took over the land. But the thing about it is what's the brother's name? What is that brother's name? Native American brother out of Detroit. He made me realize something that today. He said that, what's the brother's name? Anyway, I'm talking about brother out of Detroit, though. He always talk about the Native American aspect. But he made me realize something today. He was saying, look, we all know that the original indigenous people were dark-skinned people. But they mingled and mixed in with other tribes, but yet they still our brothers and sisters. The the Thule natives could have mixed with the old mix. Well, it did mix with the old mix. That strand could have mixed with the Incas. That could have mixed with the Iroquois. All this mixed, but yet meaning that indigenous was mixing with indigenous. Let's put it like that. But this was prior to the Caucasian coming into the mix. Then once the Caucasian came into the mix, you had indigenous people mixing with Caucasians. Then that offspring mixed with this, and so we can be upset with the Indians coming from the north into the south, but yet they were still black too. It was still one body. So it was all good. We just wanted to shed some light on that because I don't know, man. It's creepy. It's eerily creepy seeing all of these terroristic threats, terroristic actions, meaning acts that has been acted upon, and to see, oh man, you just don't, y'all just don't get it, man. You don't get it. Look, when you just drive around, man, look, I don't care what side of town you're on. I don't care if it's South Park, Third Ward, Acres Home, Homestead, Highway 6, A-Leaf, Braeswood, Home Clark. It don't matter. You will see a young black male that's almost zombified, might be begging on the corners. I mean, just out there, right? And it's like, damn. You got these white supremacists, these nationalists, just going in, shooting up the place, terrorizing people. And the youth, some, not all, some, I take that back. But some of the youth are out here like zombies, unaware. Some of the females they wondering like, why are they doing this, or what's going on, or what's making them act like this. And you got senators and leaders and activists and preachers, Trump created all this hate with his rhetoric, and the fire, the flame was already lit before Trump got in office. He just came by and spit some gasoline on it, with his rhetoric, fiery tongue. He just spit some more gasoline on it, and and then the fire expanded a little bit. And he kept on going. But the point is, this is nothing new in America. Now, and it's sad, because you got poor white folk who Trump wouldn't even let step foot on his golf course, out here cheering, and raising all kind of hell. And it's like, come on. Think about it. Who you trying to impress? Who you trying to fool? We see right through it. But we don't say anything. We just let you go on and rant and pretend to be something you're not. Pretend to be like you would actually rub elbows with the elite. And it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, well, hey, they got you too. They got you too. How can we fix it? How can we fix it? How can we fix it? Can we fix it through education? Depends on education. You can't fix it saying that Columbus discovered America, and when they found black people, they were in the jungles of Africa swinging on vines, and all the lies, and were you saying the Moors didn't exist? Come on. But I guess it's up to it's up to the one who wants peace the most. That's to take on the task of trying to rectify all of the division. It takes someone with strong belief to believe that man and mankind can unite and turn away from their wicked ways. It takes a lot of love and a lot of focus to think that with all this hate and racism and fighting and terrorism and mass shootings, that someone can have the heart and minds of the people to make them put aside some of the dangerous things or evils or wicked ways that they were doing and embrace and accept love. It's hard to find an individual like that. It's hard. Now, fortunately, we had a brother that loved us so much to where he called for a million men to come to D.C. just to tell us that we are someone and that we are a direct descendant of the Creator himself, to hold our heads high, shoulders back, and be proud of who we are. That's the message that should be in all the songs and all the raps and poetries, reiterating. You think one song every 10 years will do it? Man, after what we've been through, black people need to be reminded of how great and powerful we are every day. It should be in magazines, on posters, in music, in movies, in speeches, in documentaries, and you name it, on the graffiti walls. Black people, you are important. Verbal Peak Radio, we're out.